My name's Lex Palmer. I am the US marketing coordinator here at Phytech, and I'm here with Kyle Bates today.
Hi, my name is Kyle Bates. I'm a customer satisfaction manager with Phytech. I've been with the company for 2 years. Before Phytech, I have a background in citrus production.
So today, we're going to be presenting early season strategy for a thriving citrus orchard. And for those of you who might not be familiar with Phytech, a quick overview. So Phytech is a full service digital farming infrastructure. And so we have a variety of sensors that would go into your citrus fields and give you full data visibility of what's going on with your farm. All of this is connected through a data logger, goes up into the cloud, and you have access to the data on your farm from anywhere, mobile and web. So a citrus kit is what we would offer for full field monitoring on your citrus farm. And it's going to include three plant dendrometers, and those go into the tree and are going to be how we collect stress data, as well as water pressure sensors that are going to go on your irrigation infrastructure. We have a full soil moisture probe that is 3 feet. It measures every half foot temperature and humidity, as well as there's fruit sensors for citrus, and you're going to get three of those in the kit. And what it does is we can track your fruit size, and there's an algorithm that will allow you to trend towards your target. All of these sensors are connected through the data logger that goes on the edge of the field. And optionally, you can add flow meters and frost meters if you live in a cold area. So I'm going to pass things off to Kyle here, and he's going to go into monitoring trees' health and hydration.
Thanks, Les. So our strategy revolves around leveraging the plant itself as the primary indicator for stress. By tapping into the plant's natural processes, Phytech incorporates multiple variables affecting water consumption and growth. In this example, this is kind of a live view of a 24-hour period of how Phytech measures the trees. So we can see as the sun comes up and the trees start to transpire, we're measuring a factor called MDS, which is maximum daily shrinkage. So we have a sensor and we're actually measuring the constriction of the tree trunk as stem water potential decreases when the tree is starting to transpire. So while this is happening, we can see that it's kind of a heartbeat for the tree. So as stem water potential decreases and MDS increases, during the night, the tree goes into a recovery mode. So depending on how much it recovers, that is called our growth factor. Calculating all this together, Phytech gives you a stress factor based on its recovery and its shrinkage throughout the day. So in general, when a tree is growing, we're showing a positive trend. We're indicating that it's not stressed. But as we can see here, the red will indicate that the tree actually was not able to recover as much as is transpired throughout the 24-hour period. Moving ahead. So Phytech does this by stacking up this graph that you just saw on the left side. So on a daily basis, we're calculating the MDS and the growth and combining them to give a stress factor. So you can see here, we have 5 different colors. Dark green is showing no stress or far from stress. And citrus, sometimes this is actually an indicator of saturation. No stress is light green, which is the optimal color to be in. This is the best range to maintain your trees for longevity and fruit production. The yellow color is an indicator of transition. So it's an indicator that something's happening physiologically within the tree. And then we have the 2 stress indicators are orange and red. So when you start seeing multiple days of oranges or orange into red, this is an indicator that you're starting to see some high stress within your plant. Next slide. So in this example, we can see a period of very high stress in a citrus orchard. We can see on the top graph, these blue bar graphs going across are irrigation events that are happening. The green line in the middle is the heartbeat of the plant, which is the dendrometer. This is showing the daily trends and growth of the MDS as well as the trunk growth. And then on the bottom line, we see the soil moisture. Our soil moisture probe is a 6-level probe that goes 3 feet deep. And we measure several ways and show several ways to view this data online. In this view, you can see that we have a blue line on the top. This is an indicator of saturation. I'm sorry, can you go back? So we have the blue indicator on the top, which is an indicator of saturation. And then we see the red line on the bottom, which is what we call our stress line, or that's theoretically your max allowable depletion. So we can see in this example, we're seeing some light stress, light to mild stress in the early weeks of late weeks of July. His irrigation event almost went to saturation, and then he had about 2 weeks of not irrigating. And we can see that his trees went from positively growing to no growth to a decline in growth. And when this happened, we can also see that his soil moisture threshold was below the refill line, which is an indicator that his soil moisture was definitely below where it should be. We can see as soon as he irrigated, the trees really bounced back, started actually growing positive and became out of stress pretty quick. But this is a pattern that you can see citrus go into. Citrus will move in and out of stress very slowly in comparison to other commodities. So managing the ebb and flow of the stress is very important. Oh, okay. Targeting irrigations within the root zone. So in this example, we can see soil moisture trend where we had a client irrigate and then followed with a very large irrigation here. In week 24, we can see he applied almost a 24-hour set of water and bumped his irrigation up to saturation point. In this example, this is showing that the secondary irrigation of 48 hours really bumped the moisture level into a saturation point, and this is an indicator that he was probably overwatering, and it was probably a little bit of wasted irrigation. So moving ahead, here's an example of a citrus grower who is pulse irrigating. And in this view, we can see all 6 levels. And from looking at it, the soil moisture graph, we can see that he's applying 2 irrigations daily, but he's maintaining his moisture level in the top levels. So when I'm saying he's maintaining, we can see in the half foot, in the 1 foot, a steady ebb and flow of not building soil moisture, but we can also see at the 1.5 foot level with this irrigation pattern, he is starting to increase soil moisture at that level. So I would also be indicating that this is a good takeaway to probably bring your irrigation back a little bit if you're building soil moisture at your lower levels. Moving on, continuous soil moisture and temperature monitoring helps you optimize irrigation and target your root zone. So in this example, we can see growers irrigating every other day, and his irrigation pattern is showing major depletion. So effectively, on a daily basis, he's irrigating to his saturation point, and within 2 days, with the high demand of fruit, we can see he's getting to that refill line. So adjusting irrigation and timing amounts to keep soil moisture in the optimal range is a very critical thing in citrus. We do display soil moisture maps in our system, and it can indicate when we're having trends of increasing soil moisture or decreasing soil moisture on a 3-day and a 7-day trend. Here's an example on the left where we can see in the dark blue, soil moisture is trending up in comparison to the brown plot where soil moisture was actually decreasing over a 7-day period. optimizing fertilizer applications. So precise timing is crucial when applying fertilizer. With Phytech's advanced soil moisture probe equipped with temperature sensing capabilities, growers have an invaluable insight into optimal conditions for nutrient absorption into their trees. So what's really critical this time of the year with citrus is timing your fertigations properly. And it's really about monitoring the 4 R's: the right time, the right rate, the right place, and the right source. In this example, we can see that from this bar graph, the yellow is indicating that the grower is applying his fertilization at the end of his irrigation set. So this is going to maintain that his fertilizer is actually applied to the right level in the root zone. So the timing of when you're applying your fertilizer within your irrigation set is very critical with where your fertilizer is going to be ending up. In this example too, we can see from the soil moisture graphs, he's applying it in the right place. We can see that we're seeing soil moisture increase at the 1/2 foot and the 1 foot levels, but his soil moisture is maintaining at 1.5 to 3 feet. This is an indicator that his irrigation was effectively kept within the root zone, and his fertilizer was really utilized. And then also seeing the effects from the utilizer, we can see under number 4, the uptake from and the increase in MDS from the tree actually working harder, uptaking that nitrogen. So next slide. Here's an example of some poor fertigation. We can see instead of applying his fertilizer towards the tail end of his irrigation sets, this grower chose to front load his fertigation and actually applied at the beginning of the set as opposed to the end. We can see from the first example, he is applying it to the right position in the profile, but with his following irrigation on the 16th, he increased his soil moisture at the 2 and 3 foot levels, effectively pushing his fertilizer past the root zone. You can see this period also happening on Wednesday the 18th, and then on Friday the 20th, looks like the grower did the same thing. He applied really heavy on the front end and applied a lot of water following his irrigation. So effectively, he was pushing all his fertilizer past the roots. So soil temperature right now is very critical when it comes to fertigation. Any temperature for the soil that's below 55 degrees is an indicator that you're going to have very low microbial activity and poor nutrient uptake. So one thing that Phytech is very good at showing, we can also show soil temperature. So in this example, we can see a range of soil temperature from 3 different levels. We can see the 1/2 foot, 1 foot, 2 foot, and 3 foot levels. One thing that's very telling from this example is seeing how the cold temperature days really decrease the soil moisture out of the optimal range for his fertilizer to be efficient. We can see on the 3rd and 4th, the beginning of the 14th week, average temperature decreased below 55 degrees. And in this example, the grower waited a little bit and he saw that his temperature rose and chose to irrigate when it was appropriate time. So this is very important to keep an eye on as temperatures start to increase, and we're going through bloom right now. So another thing that Phytech's very good at showing growers is how much fertilizer they are applying within their system. In this view, we can see an irrigation system where we have a couple different sources as well as pumps. We can see our filter station, and we can see live what the grower is applying and how much. This is very critical for identifying problems that are happening when someone's away from the pump, and it also helps maintain integrity for viewing reviewing our breakdown of fertilizers once we're applied. So achieving optimal uniform water distribution. So using Phytech, we have a very trustworthy pressure sensor that's very good at identifying issues within your field. Ensuring ideal water distribution is vital for sustaining a thriving orchard, a goal attainable through strategic development of irrigation sensors. By employing a dense network of these sensors, growers acquire comprehensive insight to water distribution patterns across their ranches. In this example, we can see a grower who used our systems very, very thoroughly for a whole season to correct uniform distribution problems that he was seeing in his field. On the image you can see on his left, where we're seeing the light colored squares, he actually had very low pressure in comparison to the dark blue, which is indicating high pressure. Over a season, the grower was actually able to identify these problems and get his whole entire ranch to the optimal pressures. One thing that Phytech is very helpful with as well is identifying these alerts in real time. We can set pressure thresholds on our back end, so you can be identified when you want to be for low or high pressure within the pressure range that you want. We have online pressure maps, and we have history, so you can reference if you were having issues in the past and weren't aware of it. So it's a very useful tool in diagnosing problems that you're seeing in the field without even realizing. Another important tool utilizing that is beneficial for distribution uniformity is our weekly satellite imagery, our weekly NDVI imagery. This is very beneficial because we do weekly flights, and you're able to see a screenshot of your actual live plant health. So in this example, we can see areas of lighter canopies or places that probably need to be investigated on foot. It's also showing some underlying issues that can be within your field. So specifically in this example, we can see lighter color yellow in the southeast square. I would tell a grower that this is a good idea to check out what's going on in the field, because there's most likely some irrigation pressure distribution uniformity problems. Well, and thank you for joining us. If you have any questions, please contact myself or Ziv Atia. Here's our emails and phone numbers, or you can visit our website, and Lex will finish things off.
Thanks, you guys. Thanks, Kyle.